The Agantuka Sutta. The significance of this sutta is the Buddha explains exactly what Dhamma practice is about, what we're doing here, why we're engaged in it, why we're putting in our right effort, what we're looking to develop very precisely, and what we're looking to abandon very precisely. As opposed to the Maghavibhanga Sutta, which is the Buddha's analysis of the Eightfold Path, a much deeper exposition of what the Eightfold Path is. But this gives us great direction, and it's something we should be mindful of often, this sutta. You'll see what I mean. How many of you have read it already? A chance to read it. Good. So you know what I'm talking about. And you understand it in the way I just described it? Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah. With the light, I can see a little better. The Buddha's words: friends, I will teach the value of developing direct knowledge and profound wisdom. Listen carefully. Suppose there is a guest house where people from all directions and all professions and positions take residence. In this same way, anyone who cultivates and methodically practices a noble Eightfold Path will comprehend with direct knowledge and profound wisdom whatever phenomena are to be comprehended with direct knowledge and profound wisdom. Lauren, does that help explain this, the question you had? Okay, bring it up again, because everybody might be having that same question. Now, let me hit it here. Okay. What's the question?
The question is, the Buddha goes on to describe, goes on to develop the sutta and teaches what he needs to teach, but I don't understand why he would start the sutta by that introduction of, if friends and people were to come and get from all directions to come and gather in a guest house. I can't see that in a relation to the teaching of the sutta.
Yes.
I'm ready for him to come back to that too.
And I gave you the wrong answer because I was thinking about a different sutta before.
Okay. Well, there you go. No wonder I'm confused.
So the idea is just a common experience of people come together from all different directions, and they come into this common guest house, and so they have a common experience within the guest house. The metaphor is the common experience we have taking up residence within the Dhamma. And that's a common experience, like the common experience we have hanging out in a guest house. That's really the only reference to it.
Okay. Should I just go on to say what I told you? That the understanding what the people that the Buddha was really talking to, actually didn't travel around in guest houses. At that time, most people didn't get out of their own village, so going into a guest house would be very foreign and not a good place for people to relate to, I thought, for the beginning of a sutta. And it just struck me as being a strange way for the Buddha to start a sutta, any sutta. Yeah,
again, most people understood what a guest house was, using obviously the language of the time. And so, and the sutta is about, again, residing in the Dhamma, much like we would go and you could say another word for this would be like the Ratana Sutta, and taking refuge in the Dhamma. People traveling, it's whatever going on out there, you take refuge in this guest house. Well, people from all directions can take refuge, take residence in this Dhamma. And now he's going to explain what that means. Frank.
Yeah, I took it as where it was like a sangha. We all come from different walks of life, but yet when we come in here and we practice the Eightfold Path, we have the same similar experience of awakening.
Yes, because we're all residing in this Dhamma. There's another important part of this too, and it speaks to something that I talk of often about keeping the Dhamma pure and not adapting or embellishing it, accommodating it, or building additions on it, the guest house, in any way. Because what happens when you build the addition on? Well, a few people go hang out in the addition and they leave everybody else over here. When you start adapting the Dhamma, people go into the guest house and they leave the Dhamma over here. So it's just about keeping the Dhamma under one roof and keeping it pure that way.
And I think he goes on to explain that identifying the 5 clinging aggregates, we can all identify how we identify with the 5 clinging aggregates, and it's through understanding. And then the safety that you feel in understanding and the release from clinging is very
yeah, it's a refuge. Just like you'd feel being in a guest house and the wind is blowing and the rain is pouring down, you would feel safe and secure. The Buddhist using that metaphor, be safe and secure in this Dhamma. And now he explains what that means, though, which is more important than any of this. Lost my page. Let me go back that one paragraph. Suppose there is a guest house where people from all directions and all professions and positions take residence. In the same way, anyone who cultivates and methodically practices the Noble Eightfold Path will comprehend, important line, with direct knowledge and profound wisdom, whatever phenomena are to be comprehended with direct knowledge and profound wisdom. It's an important line because, it's, again, all the religions, even during the Buddhist time, were like our time, that if you do enough of the right things or enough rituals, then God's going to save you. That's not direct knowledge. Direct knowledge means that we develop something and have direct knowledge. In this case, we have direct knowledge of the nature of suffering.
Through experience.
Through our own experience, not through somebody telling us what we should do. In fact, the question would come up often to the Buddha, and he would tell you, this is for you to experience. Here's how you do it. Furthermore, they will abandon whatever phenomena are to be abandoned through direct knowledge and profound wisdom. Remember, the Buddha's teaching now. How do we do this? We have to recognize and abandon through direct knowledge that which is to be abandoned. And he doesn't leave us hanging there. He tells us what that is. Furthermore, they will experience whatever phenomena are to be experienced through direct knowledge and profound wisdom. We will have it. He hasn't gotten to the good part about how we can do this, but that's what he's leading up to. Furthermore, they will develop whatever phenomena are to be developed through direct knowledge and profound wisdom. What is it? Well, and which phenomena are to be comprehended with direct knowledge and profound wisdom? Frank can't answer this. What do you think would be the most important thing for the Buddha to say? Which phenomena are to be comprehended with direct knowledge and profound wisdom? I'll find out if I'm a half-rate teacher or not.
Can you repeat that?
No.
3 marks in
Nature of suffering.
It's actually all of those things, but the person who said 5 clinging aggregates gets the gold star, because that's the nature. That's the 5 clinging aggregates is the ongoing personal experience of suffering. So it would make sense that the Buddha would say, and which phenomena are to be comprehended with direct knowledge and profound wisdom? The essence of the problem. The form aggregate, the feeling aggregate, the perception aggregate, the mental fabrication aggregate, and the consciousness aggregate. These 5 clinging aggregates are the phenomena to be comprehended with direct knowledge and profound wisdom. There is absolutely no ambiguity here, is there? These 5 clinging aggregates are the phenomena to be comprehended. And anybody take each one of those as separate aggregates, and we can all comprehend form, can't we? We can comprehend feelings. We can comprehend perceptions. We can comprehend mental fabrications. Mental fabrications takes the right context to understand what the reference is, and we can understand consciousness. These are all easily understood when we clear out some of the ignorance that blocks this, the veil of ignorance, and focus on this very simple and direct Dhamma. Frank, you had a question or a comment?
I was going to comment on the phenomena that you experience prior to direct knowledge. It's the fabricated mind root that's feeding the fabrication, feeding the conscious mind that's rooted in ignorance. That's a phenomena too that you're experiencing, and it's rooted in ignorance. So there's a lot of pain and suffering in that. And once you develop a little bit of the Eightfold Path, with the right mindfulness, the right meditation, and you can see things through right view, the phenomena completely changes.
Yep.
And the experience of life.
That's right. That's right. And it is through that direct experience. Right view is something that mundane right view, where we begin this Dhamma practice, is realizing that the view I've been holding isn't suiting me well. Perhaps there's a different way of looking at myself in my life. That opens the door, that little crack of maybe I don't know everything there is to know. And maybe I'm not right about 100% of everything I'm experiencing. Just that little acceptance is the beginning of right view, because it gets you looking in a different direction. And then fully developed right view, let me go back just a little bit. So the way we get from that complete ignorance of the way things are and who I am to a profound understanding is through this Eightfold Path. But then from awakened right view, it can be seen that that is the entire path. In other words, right view encompasses all 8 factors of the Eightfold Path, but we need each factor to get from mundane right view to fully awakened right view.
But you don't arrive at right view. You have to practice right view.
Yeah, I would say develop right view. Yeah, because that's just what we're doing, just like the Buddha's teaching here. Okay.
Well, none of this is about arriving. This is about
The journey.
yeah. It's not.
I want to arrive. I'm tired.
Are we there yet? No. Are we there yet?
Are we there yet?
Just think, if we would just arrive, we could stop coming here every Tuesday night. Or something.
I'll get a t-shirt.
Yeah. And look at what just happened. Isn't the journey wonderful?
Yeah.
I mean, really, because we can do it together, because we have this. This is just what's going on here. We have this remarkable sangha. We can have fun doing this. And most of the time, it is.
John,
Yeah.
the genius in all of this is that we all come to this with our own experience of what phenomena is,
Yeah.
but the application of this process and of what the Buddha taught can teach all of us how to recognize all of these things according to our own phenomena, our own stuff that's going on.
Yeah.
So it's not that you have to first change what your phenomena is, and then, it's not like you do that in stages. You can just realize what your stuff
Just-
is,
yeah.
and then use this practice, and it works in every situation.
It works in just like the Buddha's teaching here. Right. All of our backgrounds and the experiences we've had is all different. That's just life. That's the randomness of dukkha and impermanence. But the one thing, it's funny how the modern New Age thought, it talks about this idea of one single mind and this unity consciousness, which is not something the Buddha taught. But the Buddha taught that we should recognize the discreteness of every single object in the world, not the unifying effect that everything has, but the discreteness and our interaction with the way that we see each thing in its discreteness, and all the experiences that we've all had are discrete experiences. What unifies us is awakening, is the Dhamma. This is where we connect, because it's where we can understand each other. It's why we get along so well in this little sangha. And by the way, I think another reason why we all get along so well is because we don't bring other stuff in here that could lead to division. We unite on the Dhamma, on what the Buddha is teaching. And we have the experience of recognizing what to develop and what to abandon. It's just remarkable. Thank you, Liz. And which phenomena are to be abandoned with direct knowledge and profound wisdom. Ignorance and craving for becoming further ignorant are the phenomena to be abandoned. And it's not something we're really giving up, is it? It's of any value. Ignorance and craving are the phenomena to be abandoned, again, with that same line, with direct knowledge and profound wisdom. We don't do it just because we wish we weren't ignorant anymore. We do it with direct knowledge and through developing profound wisdom. Another word for wisdom is simply a deep and penetrative understanding of any subject. In this case, it's us, 3 marks of existence. And which phenomena are to be experienced with direct knowledge and profound wisdom? The Buddha described the first noble truth as the problem, that there is stress. So, What is to be experienced with direct knowledge and profound wisdom is knowledge with regard to stress and release from ignorance, release from ignorance of Four Noble Truths are the phenomena to be experienced with direct knowledge and profound wisdom. We're supposed to recognize that. When the Buddha taught it, remember we went over the Four Noble Truths last week or 2 weeks ago, I can't remember now with these days, that the Buddha describes each noble truth from the point of view of a vision, an experience of understanding it, and then the experience of fully comprehending it. And he did that with each one of these, including this relates to the third noble truth of having the direct experience of the cessation, in this case of ignorance. You know it. And I would bet that we all have recognized a diminishing of ignorance. It's not, for most of us, unless we're Khandana and a few others, Sariputta, Moggallana, most of us, it's a gradual process, isn't it? We recognize some behaviors that are rooted in ignorance, and once we recognize them, we can start the process of abandoning them. And just like Frank described, but it is a process for most of it, isn't it? So we have to, if we're going to do that, we have to have the presence of mind and the framework to recognize ignorance and its manifestations so that we can do just this. That's what the Eightfold Path is for. And which phenomena are to be developed with direct knowledge and profound wisdom? How did the Buddha describe the quality of mind of an awakened human being? So I got to go back. And which phenomena are to be developed with direct knowledge and profound wisdom? A calm mind and insight into three marks of existence are the phenomena to be developed with direct knowledge and profound wisdom. On some level, it doesn't seem like it's even worth the effort, some people would say. But we understand the incredible value of a mind that is resting in unwavering equanimity. And we're all moving there, aren't we?
Once you've had a good look at your mind that is not calm and unwavering, you finally want that.
Yeah, you'll see value in it. And you see it within the framework of the Eightfold Path. You know, I think if the world's greatest huckster was out on the corner saying, I can guarantee you a calm mind, he's not going to get too many people to say, well, how? You know, because it really doesn't seem like all that much. Most of us would say, okay, calm is nice, but so what? I got so many other things to deal with, and the Yankees are on tonight, so I can't deal with it. But we understand, because we understand the problem of a distracted mind caused by ignorance of the way things are, is always under stress. In other words, our minds are always stressed. And we know that now. I mean, there's medical tests proven that that's one of the most debilitating things in our lives is stress. The Buddha recognized it 2,600 years ago, and he recognized that the counter to that problem is a calm mind, a stress-free mind. Worth the trouble, I think. And how does anyone who cultivates and methodically practices the Noble Eightfold Path through direct knowledge and profound wisdom comprehend appropriate phenomena, abandon appropriate phenomena, experience appropriate phenomena, and develop appropriate phenomena? Anyone is an awakened human being making a statement. Anyone who develops right view, dependent on seclusion and on dispassion, and on cessation of ignorance, that results in release from wrong views. Let me say that again, because I needed to put a period in there. Anyone who develops right view, dependent on seclusion, on dispassion, and on cessation of ignorance, that results in release from wrong views. There's the period right there. That's the Dhamma. Develop right view, dependent on seclusion, on dispassion, on cessation of ignorance, and it results in release from those wrong views. Views rooted in ignorance of Four Noble Truths. Relates directly to what the Buddha awakened to, doesn't it? Dependent origination. Through direct knowledge and profound wisdom, they, meaning people that achieve this calm mind, they develop right intention, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right meditation. That is dependent on seclusion, dependent on dispassion, and dependent on cessation that results in release from clinging to wrong views. So in a way, I said what the Buddha said a little earlier, that right view is the beginning, the entry point into the Dhamma, and at its fully developed encases all of the Dhamma, just like the Buddha said here. But it's not just right view. We're not saying, well, I'm just going to look at the world from rose-colored glasses and that's going to be good to go. The idea of I can positively think myself into a better life. And maybe you can. Some people find benefit. To develop right view, to develop that calm mind, to recognize and abandon all phenomena that hinders that, there's an Eightfold Path. And that's what the Buddha just taught here. The Buddha continues, in this way, anyone who cultivates and methodically practices a noble Eightfold Path will, with direct knowledge and profound wisdom, comprehend phenomena to be comprehended, abandon phenomena to be abandoned, experience phenomena to be experienced, and develop phenomena to be developed. Again, I'm reading things a few times, but this is a short sutta, so I'm going to read it once more.
Can I just ask a question?
Sure.
What does he mean by seclusion?
I was wondering that too.
There's a very important question. I'm glad you asked it. There's really two meanings to seclusion when we're talking about the Dhamma and the sutta. Seclusion is our meditation practice. Very important that we establish a meditation practice based on seclusion. But it also refers to an ongoing life that is disentangled from the world, which doesn't mean that we spend our life in a cave. That's not what the Buddha taught a Dhamma for human beings to develop while they're living in the world so that they can live in the world more fully, more meaningfully. So just leaving the world behind is not it. And even the Buddha never did that. He never taught anybody to do it. Remember, every day, that even the original sanghas, the monks and then the nuns, they left the monastery grounds, wherever they were, the forest, and walked into town to get their alms. But they didn't just take a bowl of food and run back into the woods. They interacted with people. They tried to teach them the Dhamma. Or they did other practical things. If they saw that there was some physical need that they could provide, they did that. So they weren't removed from the world in any way, but they were completely disentangled from the world. So that's the other meaning of seclusion.
They were in concentration.
Yes, a well-concentrated mind could be in the midst of a Black Sabbath concert. How's that? That kind of popped into my head. And I can remember where I was too, and I said, "Wow!" Even though I really wasn't there, I can, Union Catholic High School, 19. Yeah, Union Catholic High School. It was, and well, you probably must have heard about it. It was like in 19. I'm way off it. Early 70s.
I think we're losing concentration.
Well, so it's almost like one of those life. So, hey, Kate, do you know who Black Sabbath is?
Yeah.
Do you really? Okay, I wish I didn't. So seclusion means the meditation practice, but it also relates to a well-concentrated mind that is out in the world but still secluded. Yeah. Do you see the connection to meditation and to use a meditation practice for deepening concentration and for nothing else? Mm-hmm. Because it establishes a mind and united with its body, always in seclusion. Meaning I'm just not entangled in the world, but yet I'm walking through the world. I'm still doing all the things that anybody else would do.
And you're not entangled with the five clinging aggregates. Yeah,
and it's another, yes, you're not entangled. The five clinging aggregates are now not clinging anymore. They're just aggregates. We're not identified with them in any way. Yeah. Excuse me, or self-identified with them in any way.
So John, when you talk about a mundane level of understanding, right view and right intention, is that that's got to be your entry?
Yes.
You have a mundane understanding.
Yep.
You have the right intention to learn. But it's only when you have refined your concentration that you can truly see the refined right view. Is that correct?
That's absolutely correct. And so, I mean, and that's just the way, human being, it's just as human beings, that's how we learn. We first see something intellectually, and then, especially with the Dhamma, we have to have the direct experience of it. But it's both of those things. You know, I've yet to meet, and the Buddha wasn't someone that just, he wasn't a prophet or something. He didn't spontaneously become awakened. He put a lot of hard work learning what it was and what it wasn't. He put a lot of hard work in integrating, developing what he needed to develop, and recognizing and abandoning what he had to abandon. And so, yes, we first learn it in a mundane way, just learning what it is. And then we start integrating. I mean, that's exactly what we're doing here, by the way. That's what these classes are about, and that's why they're structured this way. And that's why it works, because we're doing exactly the same thing in nearly exactly the same way as the Buddha did in the original sangha. And why change it? You know, and we've all had that experience of David that David just described, isn't it? We've learned it a little intellectually. You've listened to me. You've tried it out, and then you started integrating it into your life, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And very quickly, and Kate, I'd like to put you on a spot. Pretty quickly, you realize the efficacy of this. Yeah, and that gives you the encouragement to keep going. Yeah. Frank, you had your hand up.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I didn't really see the Eightfold Path as a linear path. It was a circle of folks all supporting one another.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for right meditation, I don't think that I ever would have been able to develop right view. And the effort that I put into it, the right effort that I put into a practice, daily practice of, like what you suggested, 20 minutes twice a day, and then catch myself when I was in wrong speech and you know, like it was just like a complete
Yeah,
I felt like I was in the beginning or the end of the path. It was always, I was in the middle of engagement.
Yeah, and whatever was appropriate at that point. In other words, when you're meditating, right, the eighth factor is what's important. But when you find yourself gossiping, then right speech is the most important part of the Eightfold Path. And it is just that. It's just it's not linear. It's circular. Looking at it as a circular path is better than looking at it as a linear path. In other words, we have to develop right view before we go to right intention.
The three that I practice the most are right effort, mindfulness, meditation, and right view. Because I'm not always in right speech. I'm catching myself a lot, you know.
Yeah, and that is most people's experience. But some people will, especially in the initial stages of practice, will probably recognize right speech and maybe right action as what's most important at this time. But that is immediately getting to the heart of the matter, because the way we think is reflected in what's coming out of our mouth always, and what we're telling ourselves always. And then that, to some extent, is reflected in our actions, but not always. In other words, some people get so mad that they want to kill somebody, doesn't mean they're going to. You know?
I don't know if I think I'm better at right speech to other people, to myself, where I tell that's not good. You know, there's that difference. Right speech is what you think about yourself.
Yeah.
And how
what
you wish
the
you were
story you're
different,
telling
etc.
yourself all the
how
time.
you wish you were different, etc.
Yeah.
All that goes on in my mind.
Does anybody else do that?
But
That's the
talking,
yeah.
you know, being polite and talking to other people I connect then,
Yeah.
but I don't connect when I'm thinking of myself in the sense that the Buddha is talking about.
That really is the
It's hard
The
to
common
step,
problem.
It's hard to step back from
Yeah.
what you're saying, what
Yeah.
you're telling yourself.
yeah. And that's why we need that. That's why the Buddha came up with this meditation method. Because if we got into analyzing, if he taught a meditation method, you know, when a thought comes up, analyze it, figure out where it came from, who instilled it in you, where does it take you? That you're just rehashing the story you're always telling yourself, aren't you?
Yeah.
And he recognized that. He recognized the debilitating effect of being stuck in your own story. And so he first taught a meditation method that deepens concentration so we can see that we're doing it to ourselves. So we can practice restraint. The 4 foundations of mindfulness speak directly to what you just said. To interrupting that story, even if it's just on our meditation cushions for a moment or two, to interrupt the story that we've been telling ourselves since we were born, just about, and the conditioning that took place since then. And so we go from a story that's a fable to a story that's based in reality. We go from from a novel to, in effect.
What was that
And in some
line?
cases, a silly novel with Black Sabbath in it.
Excuse me. What was the line in there, an adaptation of something Jen said about the past and the present? It was in the newsletter, in the article.
It was?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
I know. I'm trying to think of what she said. It was so profound.
Yeah, it was in the beginning.
I gotta find. Well, here, let me just say, I just want to say this again just to finish the sutta. So let me do that, and I want to find that because it really, I almost can remember
It was very
exactly what you
clear
said.
about going to the past.
The Buddha concludes the sutta by saying, and you'll hear me say it again, in this way, anyone who cultivates and methodically practices the Noble Eightfold Path will, with direct knowledge and profound wisdom, comprehend the phenomena to be comprehended, abandon phenomena to be abandoned, experience phenomena to be experienced, and develop the phenomena to be developed. That's why the Buddha taught an Eightfold Path and nothing else. And that's why we're doing it. So that's the end of the sutta. Thank you. Now let's find that most important line from Buddha Jen.
What she said about 2-3 retreats ago.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's worth it.
Oh, I can't find it. The introduction isn't all that long.
It's the end of a paragraph.
Look for it once more.
Her name was in parentheses. Thank you, Jane. In this reading?
Yeah, I don't think it's in here.
So,
I think it's
or
another.
maybe it's not.
I think
in
it's
this
another.
reading. Then maybe I went. Maybe
Yeah.
I also went and read the link to the Eightfold Path. So maybe it was in that one.
Yeah. Wish I could think of it. It really was profound.
Wasn't the Me Tube?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was the two.
Yeah.
It was the,
But it was what was
yeah. there you
it
go.
what preceded that though. What was the
What was it?
The Me Tube.
Me too.
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna have to go listen to that. That retreat.
YouTube instead of YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
We were talking about eye making.
In the past.
But she said something about
It was different, though. What I'm
Well, we'll all have to go back and listen.
Yeah.
to
or we could just ask Jen.
Google by now. I totally forgot.
That's our that's our sutta. Let me call Jane in first to see what Jane has to say tonight. Oh, I think I just unmuted you. There you go. Hi, Jane.
Hi, John.
What do you think about tonight's talk?
Well, wonderful as always. I just wanted to say that
I just say that's right here. People tell me.
you don't have to begin. Yeah, my Dhamma practice really helped me get through some things this past week, and for that I'm grateful.
Yeah, me too. Well, do you want to elaborate, or is it? I don't mean to draw you out. If you'd rather not, that's enough.
No, that's enough.
Okay, I'm glad you joined us tonight, Jane.
Thank you.
Matt, good to see you tonight.
Good to see you, John. Good to see everybody. A couple weeks is feels like a long time.
Yeah.
This sutta is very good. Thinking about that's the intro of what the Buddha said about how people come from different positions and different places and different occupations. Is that this is a method, this is a method that we're doing. So whether it's a person from a high position or a low position or a in-between position, everybody's the same in the Dhamma. Everyone is experiencing the three marks of existence. Everyone is experiencing it in their own way. So I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And it's a joy to be here with you.
It is. Thank you, Matt. The Siddhartha Gautama, upon his awakening, well, even before his awakening, was one of the most radical thinkers and radical actors ever in human history. And so one of the things that you never did in northern India, southern Nepal during that time, is there was only a certain few classes of people that could learn anything, not just spiritual matters. And then an even more special group that could be taught spiritual matters, so-called. The Buddha never did any of that. Anyone just like this, anybody that came into the guest house, that came to the Dhamma, could take up the Dhamma and would awaken. And that's one of the things that we talked a little bit about the women in the early sangha. The Buddha felt that way, not just about classes of men, but classes of women. He never saw a difference or any reason to differentiate between anybody. And that was it. And look what's going on in the world today. That's still a radical concept, isn't it? Unfortunately, it still is. It's still, and that's the right word, radical. That there's no difference. You know, he was a little bit before his time. Lorna, good to see you.
I've kind of asked my questions along the way tonight, so I don't give anything more to add, but just say thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, good question. Thank you. Kevin, good to see you.
Good to see you. Nice to be here with everybody. Really appreciate this teaching. I think that what stood out to me, and even though the metaphor is slightly ambiguous, you know, it can be, it's sort of the end part, you know, these sort of action verbs or actions that I think I've pulled out of this before, and it's comprehend, abandoned, experience, and develop, and those all are sort of the guides to each of the Four Noble Truths. You know, we're here to comprehend First Noble Truth of dukkha, the five clinging aggregates that experience it, and as we're going to learn, anatta, which is what we sort of build up as the vessel for all of that, and then, you know, to experience the cessation, or no, what is it? Comprehend, abandon the craving and clinging that, as I just sort of danced around right there, and then to sort of experience that cessation, as you mentioned earlier in the talk, and then what we're to develop is the Eightfold Path. And it's very clear, and it helps to sort of separate some of that metaphor out, but I think that's why the Buddha taught it that way. So.
Yeah, I think so. Thank you. Yeah, it is just like that. And you mentioned the in a very profound way, the connection to the five clinging aggregates. You could say that the five clinging aggregates are dukkha, and the Buddha talks that, he says that, but you could also make a connection to the second noble truth, that craving originates and clinging perpetuates, because that's the vehicle, is the five clinging aggregates for craving, originating, and perpetuating clinging, isn't it? And so all of that, even the sutta is pointing to that, all of this ignorance and wisdom occurs right here. You know, the reason why I'm saying that, again, is to emphasize there's nothing that we can add to ignorance to make it not ignorant, can we? So we can't add anything to this to make it less than ignorant. But profound awakened wisdom can have nothing added to it either, can it? It's complete. There's nothing more. What could there? Why would we want more when we've established a calm and peaceful mind that nothing can shake? Ram, good to see you.
Great to be here. Yeah, over the weekend, actually, on Saturday, I had an opportunity to talk to one of my old customers about the Dhamma. It just kind of popped up, and you know, in the past, that kind of stuff has been sort of frustrating because I just couldn't quite pull everything together in a short of about an hour or so of an on and off conversation. This one, I'm starting to see that my right view is quietly coming together, because it was I could see the whole from my own perspective as I was talking about it. That was a wonderful experience,
isn't it? Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's well, you are doing the teacher's training, and that's just.
And I was reflecting on that quite a few times.
That's just what it's geared to. You you simply develop a deeper understanding from looking at it from that point of view, whether you're going to be a teacher like this or just teaching other people incidentally. You know, it really does change everything. Thank you. Helen, good to see you.
Thank you. Good to be here. I don't think I have anything in particular tonight, just to take away with me.
Yeah, glad you're here.
Thank you.
Kate, good to see you.
Good to see you. Same. I don't think I have anything to add either. I just enjoyed hearing that, and I always enjoy hearing what everybody else has to say too. So.
I do too. Glad you're here. Mary, good to see you. How are you?
Good to see you, John. Good to see everyone. It's a good sutta, and I think the questions and the conversation has been very helpful.
Yeah.
You know, disentangling from, you know, everything that comes up in a given day, returning to right view to see where you are, returning to your breath, and returning to the path. So, you know, it's all very good, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. Glad you're here. David, good to see you.
Hello, Jen. I'm good for today. Thanks.
Glad you're here. Liz, good to see you.
Good to see you. Good to be back. It was a really good sit tonight. I needed that. I don't really have anything more to add. It was a really good sutta, and it's nice going back and reviewing these things from a different perspective as we get deeper into the suttas. So
Yeah.
thank you for all your effort to put that together for us, John.
Thank you. Bonnie, how are you tonight?
Thanks. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for asking.
I always say this, but I feel I just, the Eightfold Path is just such a solid, like, framework. And again, for me, the most important one is where we begin in the view, because it's how we come to everything.
Yeah.
So that's what I think. Without that, I can't navigate anything else, whether it's in the moment or the next day or the next day. So the view is, even if it's on a wheel, it's still, for me, on the top of the wheel, like high noon.
Has everybody seen Jen's piece of art having to do with the Eightfold Path?
Oh, yeah.
Did you see them?
Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful.
She really, yeah.
I mean, speaking of not linear. But it represents it well.
It looks like a quilt almost, or like
Yeah.
a ribbon that's been sewn back into itself.
Thank you. Good to see you. Frank, good to see you.
Good to see everybody. Good to be here. And I don't really have anything to add other than I think this sutta really helps me understand my own personal experience with life every day. You know, talks a lot about the phenomena and comprehending. And
Yeah.
I think, you know, when I looked up the word phenomena, and it was an occurrence or experience of what phenomena you're experiencing at this moment, if you're ignorant of the 5 clinging aggregates and that phenomena, it's a totally different experience. And that's what I was trying to say earlier, is that just looking at that through right view, it changes my experience with life, with everyone around me at work, you know, and not just on my cushion, but through all of my life. And that has been one of the most profound phenomena of my life.
It really is remarkable to gain a whole new perspective on your own life. See things completely different than you ever did before. Thank you. Eric, good to see you. How are you?
You too. Good. How are you?
Good.
I don't think I have anything to add. It's just good to be here.
Glad you're here. Rich, good to see you.
Russ,
I'm sorry.
You too, Russ.
That was a remnant of that Black Sabbath concert. I'm sorry.
You hit on
on that one brain cell.
Yeah.
I just glad to be back.
Yeah.
It's a nice winter weather.
Yeah.
I enjoyed reading this sutta just because maybe it was a frame of mind I was in, and just was able to read it and understand it quickly. A lot of times I have to read things many times. This one seemed very clear to me, so I appreciated that. And it was enlightened by everyone's comments.
Yeah. Thank you, Russ. Yeah, it is. It's a remarkable sutta, and it's one to reread, especially if we feel a little confused or uncertain about our Dhamma practice, because this just gets right to it. This is what we're doing. I mentioned the teacher training. Teacher training is still open. Our retreat's coming up pretty quick now. It's March the 5th, I think, today. May 16th to May 19th. There's plenty of rooms unless you want a single. There's only one single left. If you want to go, the sooner you sign up, the better it is for me. So when you know you're ready, if you're going to go, please sign up and do that.
When is teacher training?
Teacher training has begun, but it begins whenever you're ready. There's some info on the website, but I'm happy to talk to you about it. There's a few formal things. One is at the beginning, through the summer, we're going to have a Thursday night class that is just for those in teacher training. And then we're going to have a special retreat with special secret teachings.
And special food.
And special food. We're gonna have steak and lobster up there.
Funny hats.
Funny hat.
Teacher.
We're gonna learn to levitate on that too. No, we're gonna and we'll have our own teachers retreat in January next year up at One Dharma Center. But yeah, I would really now that we're talking about it, the guidelines might seem overwhelming and too much to commit to, but there really aren't. For those of you that are regulars, it really is not much more except like a monthly report to me about what you've learned that month, and that can be just a couple paragraphs or two, and that's writing something out. Many of you know this, but writing something out uses different parts of your brain, and it raises different questions and gives you different insights. I wouldn't know the Dhamma if I didn't start writing it. I really thought I knew it before, but and I just I mentioned a few times, Jen just sent me her monthly report, and it's really remarkable. And she commented on that. Jen's a teacher, if you didn't know, that writing it out brings a deeper level of understanding. And just for teaching others, it's important to know how to do that, how to teach others. So I encourage you all to take it up.
I didn't realize that part had already started.
Yeah. And the idea of teacher training, it should be ongoing as long as this keeps going, is that what me and Matt and I went over this, is that you spend at least a year coming to class. That's part of it. But that year can start at anything. In other words, Kate, you just started with us. If you decided you wanted to start teacher training, you could start tonight. Or you could start in 6 months. Or somebody that knew could start. And then we're going to have this, I think it's a 12-week period over the summer on Thursday nights where you're going to learn a little bit more about teaching and the things that I've learned about teaching. And then you'll have the experience of actually holding classes first within that teacher training and then here, and give the old guy a break every now and then. Yeah, so again, it's a great way to deepen your understanding of the Dhamma. I encourage you all to do it at whatever level you'd like. And then the retreat, I think every one of you except maybe Rich and Russ and Kate have not been on retreat. So, Bonnie, yeah, there's just no substitute for what the level of Dhamma that you can integrate over that 3.5 days. It's just not. I'm not trying to make you feel like you have to. If you want to learn the Dhamma, you don't. But there's no substitute for that, for a retreat like that. So that being said, yeah, those are the two announcements. We'll finish with metta as we always do. So again, find your relaxed meditation posture. Gently close your eyes, gently close your mouths, and take a moment to become mindful of your in-breath and your out-breath. And these are the Buddha's words on metta from the Karaniya Metta Sutta. This is what should be done by one who is skilled in goodness and who knows the path of peace. Let them be able and upright straightforward and gentle in speech, humble and not conceited, contented and easily satisfied, unburdened with duties, and frugal in their ways, peaceful and calm and wise and skillful, not proud or demanding in nature. Let them not do the slightest thing that the wise would later reprove. Wishing, in gladness and in safety, may all beings be at ease. Whatever living beings there may be, whether they are weak or strong, omitting none, the great or the mighty, medium, short, or small, the seen and the unseen, those living near and far away, those born and to be born, may all beings be at ease. Let none deceive another or despise any being in any state. Let none through anger or ill will wish harm upon another. Even as a mother protects with her life her child, her only child, so with a boundless heart should one cherish all living beings. Radiating kindness over the entire world, spreading upwards to the skies and downwards to the depths, outwards and unbounded, freed from hatred and ill will. Whether standing or walking, seated or lying down, free from drowsiness, one should sustain this recollection. This is said to be the sublime abiding. By not holding to fixed views, the pure-hearted one, having clarity of vision, being freed from all sense desires, is not born again into this world. Thank you all for a wonderful class tonight. Thank you, Jane, for joining.
Thank you, John. Have a good week.
You too. Thank you all.